All right, welcome new managers. Look, you're here because you're ready to lead. But let's be real, this isn't just about surviving a crazy dinner service. It's about building a kitchen that actually thrives under pressure. Today, we're going to give you the modern playbook that'll completely transform how you lead your team through the toughest rushes.
So here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to step right onto the line and really understand the reality of the kitchen pressure cooker. Then, we'll get into the high cost of fear-based management. After that, we'll talk about what it means to lead from the front, introduce a super practical balanced feedback loop, and finally, we'll connect it all back to the money and show you why dignity is just plain good business.
Okay, let's jump right in. If you want to lead your team well, you have to get the world they live in. I'm talking about an environment of just constant, intense pressure. And your leadership? It's the one thing that can make them or break them. Seriously.
Let's kick things off with a term you absolutely need to understand: in the weeds. And listen, this is so much more than just being busy. We're talking about a full-blown crisis mode. It's when the tickets are flying, everyone's exhausted, and one tiny mistake feels like it could bring the whole service crashing down. These moments, this is where your leadership is truly put to the test.
Just think about the physical reality for a second. Your cooks are pulling 10, maybe 12-hour shifts, often in blistering heat. They're basically navigating a minefield of sharp knives, open flames, and bubbling hot oil, all while we're demanding perfection. It's intense.
And what are they getting paid for this incredibly demanding work? Work that takes immense skill, precision, and just sheer grit. Well, the average is around $18 an hour. You got to keep this context in mind to really understand the mindset of your team.
So what happens when you combine all those things? You get burnout, a lot of it. I mean, just look at this chart. The restaurant industry has one of the highest burnout rates of pretty much any job out there. This isn't just a feeling, it's a hard fact. And that is exactly why your leadership style is so critical.
Okay, so now let's talk about the old school way of running a kitchen. You know what I'm talking about. The yelling, the screaming, the public humiliation. We're going to really break this down and show you why that style isn't just toxic. It's a flat-out disaster for your business.
Here's the heart of the issue. The myth is that yelling gets people to work faster, that it shows authority. But the science, it tells a completely different story. The second a manager starts screaming at a cook, you trigger their fight or flight response. Their body gets flooded with cortisol, their brain gets foggy, and guess what? They're way more likely to freeze up or make even more mistakes. It literally backfires.
Think about it. This kind of public shaming adds absolutely zero value to a chaotic service. It just shatters the focus, kills the rhythm of the entire line. Suddenly, your team's goal isn't making great food anymore. It's just avoiding your anger. And a kitchen running on fear? Man, that is a kitchen that is set up to fail.
So if fear doesn't work, what does, right? Let's talk about the solution, the thing that actually builds a strong team. The new standard for management isn't about barking orders from the expo line. It's about leading from the front, and that all starts with you, holding yourself to a higher standard of emotional control than anyone else in that kitchen.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Nitpicking a drowning cook from the sidelines is a sign of a weak leader. When a station is crashing and burning, that failure is on you too. It's a shared responsibility. Just standing there criticizing someone who's struggling, that's not leadership. That's a failure of leadership. Real leaders own it.
So what's the move? What do you actually do? It's two simple words: jump in. Honestly, this is the single most powerful thing you can do. Instead of adding to the chaos and the stress, you become part of the solution. Get in there, clear the pass, pull the tickets, drop some fries. You fix the problem by physically getting in there and supporting your team.
Okay, so let's turn that idea into a practical tool, because leading isn't just about what you do in a crisis. It's about how you communicate after the fire is out. This is what we call the manager's toolkit. It's a simple, repeatable way to give feedback that actually builds your cooks up instead of tearing them down.
The whole process breaks down into 3 easy steps you see here: immediate support, private correction, and balanced feedback. First up is immediate support. This is exactly what we just talked about. During the rush, you jump in and stabilize things. No judgment, no commentary, just help. Then comes private correction. This is for later, after the rush. You pull the cook aside and you calmly go over the facts of what went wrong. No audience, no yelling, just the facts. And finally, the most important part, balanced feedback. This is how you frame the whole conversation. You start with something they do well, something positive. Then you address the mistake, but you frame it as a specific, coachable moment, a chance to learn. And you always end with clear, positive guidance on how to nail it next time. See, this approach builds trust and respect, not fear and resentment.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds a little soft, right? But listen, this isn't just about being the nice boss. This style of leadership has a direct, powerful, and totally measurable impact on your restaurant's bottom line. So yeah, let's talk about the money.
When you lead with a calm, balanced approach, you get real, tangible results. You're going to see lower turnover, which means you get to keep your experienced cooks, the ones who know your menu backwards and forwards. And what does that lead to? Steadier service, a much better and more consistent product, and, you guessed it, way lower training costs. It's a win-win-win across the board.
Let's be crystal clear on this. Every single time a good cook quits and walks out that door because the culture is toxic, it is costing your restaurant thousands of dollars. I'm talking about money you have to spend on hiring ads, on interviews, on training the new person, not to mention all the lost productivity while they're getting up to speed. Bad management is just plain expensive.
And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway from our time together today. The most elite, the most successful, the most profitable kitchens on the planet, they don't run on fear. They run on dignity. They're built on a foundation of mutual respect. When you choose to elevate your team, you create a loyal, sustainable, high-performing kitchen that people actually want to work in.
So as you head back into your shift tonight, I'm going to leave you with this question. When the tickets start piling up, when a station starts to go down in flames, when that pressure really hits, what kind of leader are you going to choose to be? Are you going to be the one who adds to the noise, or the one who jumps in and makes it right? That choice, it's going to define everything.